Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to JFD Brokers Traders Tea Time with me, Darius Luchauskas. Today's the 27th of June 2018. So welcome everyone. Welcome to this Wednesday session. Where we're gonna have a look at the markets, what happened with them this morning, what levels to watch out for later on. But before we do that, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So the content of this webinar does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Also, a very quick reminder of our JFD Brokers research page here, where you can go in and have a look at different analysis that we do on a daily basis, throw out different trading shoutouts. Of course, and of course we throw out our main daily analysis here. So, feel free to check us out, and I think you can find something useful here. But for now, let's quickly have a look at the charts. So the first one I want to touch on, well, actually I'll touch on quickly on a few indices, maybe one commodity, and then I'll actually jump into the currency pairs. So for now, the first one is the FTSE 100. So we're seeing here a nice move here back to the upside. This morning I was talking about this one, told you guys to keep an eye on this area, this potential area for a test. We're seeing that the index kind of almost reached that 50 EMA that I was talking about here, shown as the red line. So now, of course, we'll just have to wait and see where the index is going to close. Certainly, even if it's going to close slightly below this, still this is going to be looking quite, let's say, bullish for the short term, and we maybe could see even a continuation back to the upside here. First, of course, aiming for this 21 EMA, and then maybe eventually aiming for this downwards moving trend line here for a quick test. So, but for now, certainly keep a close eye on this one, keep on monitoring it. If we suddenly reverse that to the downside, for us to become, let's say, more bearish on this one, we would need to see a nice move below this area right here that I'm just going to quickly highlight that, and that's around the 75.50 mark. So 75.50, keep a close eye on that one. A break below that could send this index towards this area right here at around 74.90, or even actually we could see maybe a break of this line, this support line here, and maybe eventually a touch of this 200 EMA. So for now, certainly the kind of the near-term outlook is more bullish, and we could maybe see a continuation here to the upside. Looking at the DAX, and the DAX is giving us a nice bullish candle here. Certainly, we cannot just kind of judge it from here that this is going to continue pushing higher. We need to see how this day is going to close. I mean, if we're going to close the day with something like this, then yes, I mean, there is some potential for this one to move higher here. Maybe going into tomorrow, we could end up moving towards this 12,450 level again. We could start testing that from underneath, and then maybe eventually testing this 100 EMA here, shown as the green line. So for now, keep a close eye on today's close. If suddenly this reverses back down and closes below the 12,300 level, then, well, stay sharp. I mean, there will be a tricky one. We'll just have to see where it's going to go tomorrow. If it'll start breaking the today's highs, then yep, I mean, we could end up pushing higher. But again, if this is going to reverse to the downside, and if we'll start testing the today's lows, well, I'm talking about tomorrow, if we're going to start testing today's lows at around 12,150, then, well, keep a close eye on this level right here, the psychological 12,000. So we could end up moving towards that one. But for now, certainly judging by this current candle, it is looking more bullish than bearish. Let's quickly have a look at oil now, and the one that I want to touch on is Brent, and we're seeing a nice pop here yesterday. We've seen a nice pop here yesterday, and we closed above this, not only above this downwards moving trend line, but also above this key level of resistance at around 75 and 85 mark. So now we're seeing that today we've managed to almost retrace a little bit to the downside, almost managed to touch this 50 EMA, but now we're seeing that the bulls are jumping in and trying to drive this commodity towards this next key area of resistance at around 77.80. So keep an eye on that one. This is our target, the first target. After that, of course, if that doesn't hold, well, I mean, it could end up moving towards these highs here that around 80.50, which were marked by the highs that we had here in May. So approximately there. Keep a close eye on that, the 80.5. Only if we get a nice break here above the 77.80. So good levels to watch here. Keep an eye on that one. Let's quickly touch on a few pairs now. So the euro dollar is moving lower today, and this is what I was talking about today exactly. I mean, I told you guys to keep an eye on the 116,500. So we started breaking into the downside, and you can see that now the pair is aiming towards this upwards moving trend line for a test again, probably. So keep an eye on this trend line. This has been running since January 2017. Very good level, very good area to watch. Certainly if it'll start breaking into the downside, stay sharp. I mean, this wouldn't mean exactly that from this point we would start rolling over, because as you can see here, last week we had similar situations almost like 3 times where the pair kind of overshot the upwards moving trend line to the downside, and but still reversed back up and closed the day above it. So we could see a scenario again like this, so that's why I probably recommend to stay careful with this one. Just keep on monitoring the daily closes, and let's see where how it behaves further on. If suddenly we get a close below the 115 450, 115 450, a close below that could actually trigger some more selling here, and we could see this one moving lower, maybe even towards this 114,500 level. But for now, until it's above this upwards moving trend line, certainly we will consider this line as being a very good strong area of support from which the pair could bounce back to the upside. So keep a close eye on this one. Certainly for now we are probably more to the neutral side here, I would say, because even though, yeah, we do have this upwards moving trend line, but anything can happen in this point, guys. I mean, so keep a close eyes on it, and for us to become more bullish on this one, we would need to see a nice move here above the 117,250 in order to kind of start considering higher levels. Let's quickly touch on GBPUSD, and GBPUSD is moving lower as well, certainly breaking this key level that I was talking about, the 132.05. Now we're near the lower side of the Bollinger Band. Certainly keep a close eye on these lows that we had here on the 21st of June, around the 131 mark. Now a strong break below that could open the door towards these lower levels here. Of course, the one to watch would be the 130.40, and of course below, but for now just keep on monitoring this one. If we suddenly get a reversal back to the upside and we close above the 132.05, this could be seen maybe more of a bullish sign, and we could maybe see a move back towards this 21 EMA shown here as the yellow line, and then maybe eventually a touch of the 133.40 mark. So good levels to watch here, guys. Certainly try to capture maybe a trade here, but at the same time be careful and have your stop losses in place. Now another interesting pair that I really wanted to touch on, where the pound is the base currency, is the GBPCAD, so the GBP British pound against the Swiss franc. So we can see that we're stuck here in this little zone, and it seems like it's waiting for a nice pop here, either to the upside or maybe a nice break here, strong break to the downside. So for now, keep on monitoring these areas here. The first one to watch is the 130.650 approximately there, that got tested today already. If this gets broken, the next good strong area of support, which is just a 15 pips away from that one that I've just mentioned, is the 130,500. Now if we do get a nice close below that level, then well, it is opening the path towards these lower levels. The first one to be would be the 129,850, and then of course below that we would have the 128,650, which is marked here by the lows that we saw in March. Certainly on the upside, of course, if this reverses back to the upside and starts breaking this this downwards moving trend line, well, still, I mean, stay very careful in this point, because we do have some good strong areas of resistance, potential areas of resistance here. The first one could be the 131,900, and the other one could be the 132,700 if this continues to push higher. Now another thing to point out, to be honest, is this little range here that we are seeing on this pair, and this is where you need to be kind of very careful here. A break above this downwards moving trend line could lead, it could lead to higher levels, but stay sharp at around this point here, because this is where the the range traders could start coming in, and we could maybe see a bit of selling coming in as well here. So good levels to watch, so stay sharp, guys. GBPCAD, another good one, and we're seeing that it's kind of flirting with this upwards moving support line here that has been running since the end of May here, and keep a close eye on today's close. If we're gonna get a close below this, then we could start aiming for, potentially could start aiming for this 174,500 level that coincides with the 50 EMA, and probably by the time it could reach that level, this 21 EMA would approach that area as well. So this could kind of add to the strong area of potential strong area of support. And if we do get a nice break here below, well, I mean, it is opening the path towards this 200 EMA here, which is also around this level, around this good area of support at around 173, 150. But for this, of course, for this scenario, for us to see this scenario and consider this scenario, we would need to see a nice close below this upwards moving trend line. Looking at the Aussie dollar, and the Aussie dollar is moving lower, of course. Certainly keep a close eye on this little range here, about 100 pip range that the pair is stuck in, and that's between the 0.74 450 and the 0.73 500. Certainly if we get a nice break here below this one, then this is opening the path towards these lower levels, and we could see a continuation fall here in this pair now. But like I said, for us to see that and kind of consider that, we would need to see a nice break here, break and a close below the 0.73 500 level. On the upside, well, we do have these 0.74 450 that I just mentioned, and a nice close above this could send this pair towards a test of these previous key areas of resistance, or should I say previous areas of support that we saw here, and which now are going to act as levels of resistance. Certainly keep a close eye on the 0.75 300. Currently coincides with this 50 EMA here, but by the time, probably, if we see a reversal back to the upside here and we start breaking this level right there, the 0.74 450, then, well, the EMAs could probably drop a little bit here below, and which would make them the first areas of resistance. So for now, observe these two key areas. Let's see where the pair wants to break through. Looking at the USDJPY, and USDJPY is moving higher here today. Certainly nice rebound from this upwards moving trend line. So this is exactly what we were seeing this morning. Told you to stay sharp here, to stay careful, guys, because of course, for us to kind of become more bearish on this one, we would need to see a nice close below this upwards moving trend line. But judging from this current picture right now, I mean, we can see that the bulls are getting back into this pair, and the people are starting, investors are starting to buy dollars again, and we're seeing a nice move above the 200 EMA. Certainly above this key level of resistance that I had marked here, the 110.250. If this is going to close here above today, well, this is definitely adding some more bullishness into this pair, and we could see this one traveling all the way towards this 110.850, or you can actually round it up to 110.900. And of course, if that doesn't hold, well, we could end up testing this this high that we had here in May at around 111.400. So for now, observe today's close. Let's see where it stays. If it stays, again, I'll probably repeat myself. If it stays above this, then we could end up pushing higher. And let's quickly touch on the USDCAD now. USDCAD, well, mixed trading. We are seeing here mixed trading, also stuck here between these two key levels. between the 133,500 and the 132,650. Certainly, if we get a nice break here to the downside and break below this level, we could start aiming for this area of potential support at around 131,250, which was the high that we had here in March. Now it could act as a very good area of support, so keep a close eye on that one, but only if we get a nice break here below the 132,650. On the upside, a nice move push above the 133,500 could open the path towards higher levels, but for now, like I said, stay sharp. It's difficult to say where this wants to go, and we need to see a nice clear break through one of these levels first in order to kind of determine the further direction. Okay guys, I'll have to wrap it up here. I hope you found it useful, and thank you very much for watching and listening. And if you want to join me tomorrow at my Traders Espresso at 6 o'clock GMT time, 7 o'clock British Summer Time. For now, thank you very much, and bye bye.